I'm Jessica. The day my husband, Edward, announced that his sister was moving in, I was in the kitchen, making his favorite lasagna. He dropped the news casually, as if he were commenting on the weather. Nancy's going through a rough divorce, he said. She needs a place to stay for a while. I nearly dropped the dish I was holding. Stay with us? For how long? Just until she gets back on her feet. A month, tops. He had that look, the one that said his mind was already made up. I glanced around our modest two-bedroom home and sighed. She can take the guest room, I guess. It'll be tight, but... Edward shifted uncomfortably. The guest room's full of her stuff already. I told her she could have her bedroom. She needs somewhere comfortable, considering what she's going through. My sauce-covered spoon clattered onto the counter. And where are we supposed to sleep? I thought we could camp out in the living room. Just temporarily. That first night, Edward claimed the couch, leaving me with some blankets on the kitchen floor. Just for tonight, he promised. We'll figure something out tomorrow. Tomorrow stretched into a week. Apparently, the couch was too lumpy for his back, so he moved into our bedroom, with Nancy. I need the mattress, he claimed, citing a mysterious medical condition I'd never heard of before. At work, my best friend Pamela noticed something was off. You look exhausted, she said during lunch. Everything okay at home? I tried to laugh it off, but my voice cracked. It's just family staying over. It's fine. Family doesn't make you sleep on kitchen floor tiles, she pressed. Pamela had known me since college and could see right through me. That evening, our neighbor Dana caught me sneaking a shower with a garden hose. Jessica, why are you out here in the dark? I mumbled something about watering plants, but her skeptical look told me she didn't buy it, especially since it was nearly midnight. 2 weeks in, Nancy was strutting around in my robes, using my vanity, and rearranging my closet. You don't need all this space anyway, she said with a smirk, since you're not sleeping here. Edward just nodded along, acting like this was completely normal. Whenever I tried to talk to him, he'd shut me down. She's family, Jessica. She's going through a hard time. Why can't you be more understanding? Understanding. Right. I was starting to understand plenty, like how my clothes had been stuffed into garbage bags in the garage and how Edward wouldn't meet my eyes anymore. I called my brother Tom that night, huddled in a corner of the kitchen. Just keeping you in the loop, I said, trying to sound casual. Nancy's staying with us for a bit. Tom was silent for a moment. Send me pictures of anything that seems off, he finally said. Document everything. That advice would change everything. The truth began unraveling during lunch with Pamela. I was massaging my aching back when she slid her phone across the table. Look what Nancy posted last night. It was my dining room, transformed into a yoga studio. My grandmother's antique table was gone. The caption read, finally making this place feel like home. #new beginnings, #fresh start. For someone going through a messy divorce, she sure seems happy, Pamela said, scrolling through more posts. What do you mean? I asked. She's been posting for months about her amazing single life. Nothing about a divorce. Later that day, Diana texted me about noise coming from my house. Apparently, Nancy was hosting a party in my bedroom. When I got home, Edward was cleaning up beer bottles. Just a small gathering for Nancy's job promotion, he said, avoiding my gaze. Promotion? I thought she was too devastated from her divorce to work. He froze. Well, she's bouncing back. Isn't that great? I started paying more attention. I noticed how Edward and Nancy would stop talking whenever I entered a room. I caught them whispering while browsing real estate websites. I found blank divorce papers in the trash. One night, I overheard them in the kitchen. How long are we going to keep this up? Nancy asked. Until she gets fed up and leaves, Edward replied. She's too nice to kick you out. Once she's gone, the house is mine in the divorce. You can stay as long as you want. You're sure about the prenup? She won't get anything. Trust me, I've got it covered. My hands shook as I texted Tom, need legal help ASAP. The next day, I started gathering evidence. Pamela helped me document Nancy's Instagram posts, while Donna kept a detailed log of every party and late-night disturbance. I took photos of my belongings piled in the garage and the makeshift bed I created between the refrigerator and the wall. Then Edward crossed a line. I came home to find my mother's jewelry box emptied. Had to make room for Nancy's things, he said with a shrug. My voice trembled. That was my mother's jewelry. Well, she's dead, isn't she? Not like she needs it. My hands shook. I moved toward the bedroom, but Edward was suddenly in my face, his fists clenched. Try it, he growled. Give me a reason. I stumbled back, fumbling for my phone. Tom answered on the first ring. I'm coming to get you, he said firmly. Don't tell them anything. We've got enough. Looking at Edward's twisted expression, I finally saw him clearly. This wasn't about Nancy needing a place to stay. It was about breaking me piece by piece until I left with nothing. But they didn't know about the cameras I'd hidden weeks ago, the prenup's infidelity clause, or the fact that my brother Tom specialized in divorce law. Late-night conversations between Edward and Nancy, captured on video, revealed everything. Edward had never loved me. He'd married me for my inheritance. The prenup blocked him from accessing it unless I left him first. Just keep pushing, Nancy urged in one recording. She's almost broken. I watched the footage with Tom in his office, my hands clenched tight. They're not as clever as they think, Tom said, pausing the video. The prenup has a clause about creating a hostile environment. Plus, harassment and threats are criminal offenses. Pamela unearthed more evidence at work. Look at these messages, she said, showing me texts from Nancy to mutual friends. She's been telling everyone you're mentally unstable and choosing to sleep in the kitchen. Keep all of it, Tom advised. Dana proved invaluable too. She flipped through her notebook, reading aloud. March 15th, 2 a.m., loud party. Jessica seen sleeping in car. March 20th, verbal altercation. Edward screaming about Jessica being ungrateful. March 25th, Nancy throwing Jessica's belongings into the yard. A visit to my bank uncovered another betrayal. Edward had been trying to access my accounts. He's attempted several unusual transfers, the banker explained. We blocked them all. The final piece of the puzzle came from Pamela's cousin, who worked at the office of Nancy's supposed ex-husband. She's never been married, she confirmed. It's time to confront them, Tom said. But carefully, we need to record everything. That evening, I entered my house with a small recording device hidden in my bag. I found Edward and Nancy lounging in my bedroom, watching my TV. We need to talk, I said calmly. Nancy smirked. About time, finally kicking me out. Actually, I replied, about your divorce. Interesting how you can't get divorced if you were never married. The color drained from their faces. Edward stood, his expression darkening. You've been digging around. Who do you think you are? Careful, Edward, I said quietly. Threats are admissible in court. You little. He lunged toward me, fists clenched. I stepped back, speaking clearly for the recording. Are you planning to hit me, Edward? Like you threatened before. Nancy jumped in, her voice shrill. Nobody will believe you. We've told everyone you're crazy. Who lives in a kitchen? Yes, I said, smiling. Who forces their wife to live in the kitchen? The cameras caught everything. Every threat, every scheme, every plan to steal my inheritance, it all ended that night. Edward lunged forward, grabbing my arm. Perfect, I pressed the panic button on my phone. Within seconds, Dana appeared at the door with 2 police officers right on schedule. As they led Edward away, Nancy started crying. I'm sorry. We can fix this. But as I glanced at my bruised arm, I knew there was only one fix left. Tom called from the driveway. Ready for tomorrow? I nodded, watching the police car drive away. Everything was ready. The endgame was about to begin. Things moved fast after that night. By morning, Tom had prepared everything. Not just the divorce papers, but also a restraining order and criminal charges for Edward's assault and harassment. The security footage sealed it, Tom explained during our meeting with the judge. The evidence was damning. Edward and Nancy admitted everything on camera. The fake divorce story, their plan to force me out, and their attempts to access my accounts. When it was presented in court, Edward's face turned ghost white. This is one of the most calculated cases of emotional abuse I've seen, the judge declared. The premeditation is disturbing. The ruling was harsh. Edward was found guilty of domestic abuse, harassment, and attempted financial fraud. The prenup's hostile environment clause ensured I kept everything, the house, my inheritance, even his half of our joint accounts. Nancy wasn't charged. Legally, she hadn't broken any laws. But karma had other plans. Did you see the news? Pamela asked one morning. Nancy's company found out about everything. They fired her for ethical concerns. Apparently, plotting to make someone homeless isn't good for their image. Dana kept me updated on the neighborhood gossip. Everyone's seen the footage. Their Jessica is crazy story backfired. Nobody will even speak to Nancy now. As for Edward, his behavior in court earned him a month in jail followed by mandatory counseling. He sent me a tear-stained letter from his cell, begging for forgiveness. I sent it back unopened. Last I heard, Edward was living in his parents' basement, and Nancy had moved 3 states away. Her reputation followed her to every job interview in town. Turns out social media works both ways. Those Instagram posts about taking over my house came back to haunt her. The day I moved back into my bedroom, Pamela and Dana helped me sage the space. We replaced the mattress, repainted the walls, and held a small ceremony to burn Edward's leftover clothes. Maybe we're being too harsh, Pamela mused as the smoke rose. I thought about the nights I spent on the kitchen floor, the isolation, the humiliation. No, I said firmly. We weren't. That evening, Tom stopped by with dinner. Any regrets? He asked. I looked around my peaceful home. No more parties, no more threats, no more walking on eggshells. Just one, I said with a smile. I wish I'd installed those cameras sooner. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting free. Funny how karma works that way. This story was an experiment in exploring toxic dynamics and psychological manipulation. I have some questions for you. When you watched Jessica being systematically pushed out of her own bedroom and forced to sleep on the kitchen floor, did you notice how Edward and Nancy didn't start with outright abuse? They began with temporary arrangements that slowly stripped away her dignity. Here's what I really want to know. At what moment in Jessica's story would you have snapped? Would you have quietly gathered evidence like she did, or would you have confronted them immediately? What's your breaking point between being strategic and standing up for yourself? Share your thoughts below.